sure about you, but sometimes I get really bogged down when I am creating. At times, it can get so bad that I don't even want to paint or even attempt to create anything, which for me is odd because I actually love creating and just working on art in general. It is an escape for me, and it's very odd when I don't feel led to do the thing that I love. But lately, I've actually been thinking about what it actually means to be an artist or anything that encompasses creating. Basically, we have to be inventors because most of the time the items that we are creating either haven't been done before or we don't necessarily know the process of how to accomplish this idea that we have envisioned in our head. So lots of studying and lots of trial and error and failed projects. Another thing that we have to be is observers. We have to train our eyes to see things that basically the ordinary person wouldn't see. I mean, really think about it. Have you ever wondered why artists have so many names for so many different colors? Basically, because we can see the slightest difference between a magenta lilac and basically a standard magenta. Whereas the average person would just call those magenta, such as my husband. He looks at a lot of the watercolor paints that I purchase and he's like, these look exactly the same. And I'm like, no, they're not. They act differently, they look different, they are not the same. And that is totally true of being an artist. We are observers and we can see the slightest differences in things in nature, as well as our art supplies, as well as just different things that we are doing in our creative process. Another thing that we have to be is visionaries. I mean, how many times have you created something on paper that only existed in your mind's eye? We are excellent imaginative beings that desire to capture beauty that may not actually exist in real life. We are also sensitive or thoughtful when approaching our art. I often find myself being my biggest own critic. I can usually rip apart everything that is wrong with my art in seconds, which can be a good thing as well as a bad thing. It allows me to see the things that I can improve on my art, but it also can stifle my creativity if I let it. But most of all, we are courageous. Usually our art is an extension of ourselves, basically a way for us to be vulnerable and expose ourselves, allowing someone else to see our innermost thoughts and our innermost feelings. It's even more terrifying not knowing how that person on the outside is going to respond when seeing the labor of love that you have put together for this particular project, or basically anything that is related to art. And while it is true that often we are faced with positive love and encouragement when we share these little pieces of ourselves to an audience, sometimes the most wounding part of being an artist is having your own work and basically an extension of yourself completely ripped apart. And the thing is, after you have been ripped apart and torn apart, basically that little element of yourself that is out into the world, you have to figure out a way to pick yourself back up and start again with a new challenge and a new project. So yeah, that takes a lot of courage. Which got me thinking that being an artist requires a lot of different things. You have to wear a lot of different hats, and sometimes it can be tiring and even grueling. But from what I have learned myself over the past year, really, don't stop creating, don't stop inventing, don't stop observing, and most of all, don't stop being brave. Because who knows when that next breakthrough is actually going to happen, or how your art is actually going to impact someone else. The point is that despite the failures and despite the pitfalls that we can fall into, art is an extension of yourself. And as your art grows, so are you. So yeah, those are my creative thoughts for this particular project that I've been working on. And also for a comment down below, let's see, a question for this week. What would you most identify with being a creative person or an artist? Are you an inventor? Are you courageous? Are you a visionary? Basically the things that I listed. Go ahead and tell me which one of those you find yourself identifying with most at this moment in time, and tell me why. So for me, I find myself being more of a visionary in this moment of my life because I have all these ideas inside of my head of what I want to do and what I want to try and attempt with my art, but getting basically the land points down and connecting the dots basically to get what is in my head on paper is really bothering me because I know my end goal, but getting there, I don't know exactly how to get there yet. So at the moment, I am really identifying with the visionary part of being an artist. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this once again, and lots of love, y'all. Happy painting, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hey guys, Future Carrie here. I wanted to let you know that I have 2 videos available to you that you might want to watch if you have maybe more questions about specifically the project that I did or the painting that I did towards the end of this video. So the very first video that you will see on the screen is a time-lapse painting, or basically music with just me painting and some sound effects that I basically left in that I caught while I was recording. So it's a little bit of an AMSR type thing, but it's very relaxing, which is kind of background music type thing. But that is a very slowed down version of the little girl portrait that I did right here. That is very slowed down. It's like 12 minutes instead of being super fast like it was in this video. So if you're interested in just seeing more of the slowed down, relaxing version, make sure to check that out. Another thing that you need to check out is I am going to be filming an entire talkie video inside of Watercolor Misfit Land. So you'll see somewhere up above me, most likely, a website called Watercolor Misfit Land. That's basically my community. And in that community, I'm going to be releasing a long chatty video about all the different supplies that I use, my first impressions with using the Cricut, because I use the Cricut Maker 3 to make this, and kind of my whole experimenting and failing and experimenting and trial and error basically with that particular process. I'm going to be going over all the supplies that I used, kind of my first impressions with it, because I'm still learning and going about that. So it's definitely not done yet, but I wanted to just share with you like what kind of watercolor paper I used, which ones tore, which ones didn't, what things worked and what things didn't, while I was playing around with this process of creating basically the paper cut art that I did. So if you want to check that out, make sure to go onto Watercolor Misfit Land. It's free to join. You basically just sign up, and that's where my community is. And I'm going to be putting together a whole video talking about that in there. So those are 2 things that you can look forward to and go check out right now. I'll leave links also down in the description box below. And lots of love, y'all, and I'll see you next time. Bye.